Hello friends, Tom at Weapons Education here with another informative interview with Police Officer Dave. Before we watch the interview, I wanted to put this little spot up front to talk about a couple of things. First of all, real quick, I am way into blades. This is not a blade review. I just grabbed a couple to show you some of my favorites. I got a couple of hundred blades. But I do like HK. I'm not going to talk about these individually. I do like the HK line of blades. This one's serrated, and here's another HK blade. Very nice. And we'll talk about these in the future. I love Benchmades. I mean, ambi, open, automatic, very nice. And Benchmade's awesome. We'll talk about those in the future. I love the Raha 2. I love all the cold steel blades. Way into blades. We're about to watch an interview right now with Police Officer Dave, and I know the most controversial question that I asked him was, why do states look at the Second Amendment differently? And it doesn't irk anybody more than myself. Well, I guess it might. Some of you might be even more irked because we're all very passionate about this. This is all about the Constitution of the United States. This is all about the Second Amendment. So, when I asked him the question, I forget exactly what his answer was. It was something to do with the word militia being involved in it. There is no exact answer as to why the states look at the Second Amendment differently. So I'm not trying to say I am the end-all answer to that question, or Officer Dave is not the end-all answer to why different states look at that question differently. But I will say that I'm a strong believer of the Second Amendment. I did say previously, and I've been saying it for months, us together as a whole can tweak, we can help change state laws. Think of how powerful the internet is, and think of us having a petition signed by hundreds of thousands of people and going in front of politicians. I have radio shows lined up for the year 2012. And then if these politicians want to get voted in, they're at least going to hear what we have to say. All right? And you know why I'm a little... I did this interview 2 weeks ago with Officer Dave, and I decided to air it tonight for tomorrow. I'm going to put it on for tomorrow. The NRA, which, by the way, is backing me 100%. They're a huge part of the merchant website, which goes on live July 25th. ArmoryExpressOutlet.com goes live on July 25th. That's the grand opening. It happens to be my birthday. That's kind of cool. But, you know, just this came out today. And I'll read it to you. It says, NRA sues Illinois over concealed carry ban. Thumbs up. Good job. All right? Now, the NRA is backing me with our merchant website. I'm not fooling around here. As a matter of fact, when the merchant website goes live, if you're not a member of the NRA, you'll get a $10 discount just for logging in and just for signing up. And it's not all that much money. When I signed up with the NRA, they gave me this really cool multi-tool. I'm not saying you'll get one of these. They always got specials going on. We'll see what the specials are at the time. But the NRA are doing things. This is just one example. And another issue going on right now, hot off the press, July 8th, 2011. I'll read it to you, okay? This is real. This is going on. Obama administration plans new gun control. As we pass the 6-month anniversary of the tragic Tucson shooting, multiple press reports indicate the Obama administration is planning to unveil new but unspecified gun control initiatives. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I heard through the grapevine, and I'm not saying this is a fact, that he's going to use a presidential executive order to change gun laws, which means the House is not involved, there's no voting involved, there's no senators involved, and he just signs a bill and it's law. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case, but I'm saying someone has to stand up. The NRA does a good job. They're suing Illinois right now, as of 4 days ago. They're suing them in federal court to declare it unconstitutional that the people in Illinois cannot carry arms outside of their home or business. This is real. There's dozens of these going on nationwide that the NRA is filing lawsuits. So, when the merchant site goes live, I'm going to urge you to join the NRA, of course, and then when I have this push in the year 2012 during the elections to get all states to look at the Second Amendment equally, I know I can't make it happen. It's not going to happen, but we can tweak it. So you're about to watch this interview with Officer Dave. We got a couple of jokes in there, and those of you who gave me your input from the first interview with Police Officer Dave, I took your questions and asked him those questions, but I know the controversy is going to come as when I asked him the question, why do different states look at the Second Amendment differently? I don't like it. I know you don't like it. I know that you don't like that the present president, which I'm not saying I like or dislike, I'm just saying facts, that the NRA sent me this document that he is going to change gun laws if he has the power to do so. So I'm not taking sides on political matters here. I'm just saying if we do not stand together, someone's got to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm going to get the radio shows going like you have never seen before. And they're going to hear us. These politicians are going to hear us. I'm pretty good at marketing. That's what I do for a living. All right, here goes the interview with Police Officer Dave. Enjoy. Thank you so much. You know how much I care about all of you. For real. I mean, I really care about all of you and your kind comments. Keep the comments kind, and I'll be hanging in there for you. Thumbs up, everybody. Thumbs up. Let's watch the interview. Okay, we are at a park called the Veterans Memorial Park. Of course, we have the American flag. It's a beautiful day. Look at that blue sky. The flag under it, POW, MIA. You will not be forgotten. Officer Dave is going to do an interview here, and we'll get set up. All right, Police Officer Dave here with our second interview. We just went to the range. You have a good time at the range today?
Always have a good time at the range.
Shot the Ed Brown for the first time. What'd you think of that trigger?
Beautiful gun.
Didn't it feel like a fully automatic?
Yeah, the trigger pull is so light that it could almost, it feels like it's fully auto.
All right, some of our friends online had some questions for you, and I got them printed up in front of me. Just going to rattle them off here. You were a bicycle cop for how many years? Up to 20 years?
6 years.
6 years? And how does that work? Like if you're on a bicycle, you see a crime taking place, you can't catch the guy. What do you do?
Well, pretty much you can because of traffic. On a bicycle, you don't have to worry about traffic lights, cars that are stopped. So, and you also have a radio. So if they can get through traffic and they start getting away from you, you get on the radio, a marked unit in the area gets them pulled over, and you're on the scene within no time. So I've never lost anybody when I was on my bike.
Was it a mountain bike type thing?
Yeah. All police agencies use mountain bikes.
And you got your exercise then, I guess. How are your thumbs now after all these years of doing that?
After all that time of riding it, nobody realizes, riding a bike for, we worked 10-hour shifts at the time, so you were on the bike for almost 8 hours. And I got carpal tunnel in both thumbs from, there's only certain ways you could put your hands. No one realized all that time riding what the outcome would be. Just like no one realized what would happen to your fingers typing on the keyboard all the time. You get carpal tunnel. That's
why you didn't shoot the 500 Magnum today?
Yeah, no. It still hurts from the last time.
A lot of guys, and myself, we're all irked at the fact that different states read the Second Amendment differently. Of course, the First Amendment, we can go to any state we want, and we can speak freely, but the Second Amendment, we can't carry our firearms in different states. They all have different laws. Well, and why do you think that is? Why do they read the Second Amendment differently?
Well, the problem is you have different politicians in each state, and different politicians and their legislators, they interpret the amendment in a different way. Someone walking out and saying something doesn't hurt anybody. Someone carrying a gun can hurt somebody. So they're gonna, you got these anti-gun politicians that are gonna go out of their way to try and interpret it in a way where people can't carry guns.
What about the word militia within the Second Amendment?
That word militia scares any government because that is a group of armed people within any country, and most countries don't want an armed militia. That's what leads to civil war.
And that's why the states all look at the Second Amendment differently. That's just not the exact answer, but that's generally speaking, all the states look at the Second Amendment differently because of the word militia.
The militia scares some politicians. You get a politician in there that might not be afraid of that, he's going to lessen the laws in that state. But it's hard to change what's already in place.
As a law enforcement officer, are you comfortable with people like myself? As you know, I carry 2 guns, I carry a knife. Are you comfortable with law-abiding citizens being armed?
So long as they're law-abiding citizens being armed, every time you get in a car, you're technically armed. So, because that's a 2,000-pound weapon. A gun is just another weapon.
But it should make you feel comfortable as an officer thinking that if those of us who have a concealed weapons permit and we're armed, and we do what's right, and we try to save lives. If some psychopath goes out there and opens fire at a McDonald's,
oh yeah, you can definitely help.
It's like having free cops on the streets.
Right, you can definitely help make my life easier if I'm in a situation where I need firepower help, and there's someone who I know is licensed to carry a weapon, and he or she can help me. I'm all for it.
How often should a guy practice at the range? If once you get your permit in Florida, that's pretty much it. You pay the fees. You can do a background check every 7 years, I believe it is. But I think if you're a concealed weapons permit holder, you should practice a minimal of an hour per month at the range. A minimal, don't you agree?
An hour per month at least, maybe more, because when it comes down to the situation where your life is threatened, your heart's going to be racing, your adrenaline's going to be flowing, and if you're not comfortable with that weapon, and you won't be comfortable with it unless you go to the range quite often, you're not going to be able to place that round where it might need to be, and you don't want it to go somewhere else.
You're right, exactly. Hey, what are some of the funniest things that happened to you? Please zoom out his face here. What are some of the funniest things that happened? Tell them about the story, the domestic violence. What was that all about?
I went on a domestic where the wife pissed off the husband so bad he took her toys, you know what I mean, and had them taped to each blade of the ceiling fan.
Oh gosh! So did it hit you in the head?
No, I walked in and saw them and said, "Hey, dude, you got to get those down before they kill somebody." There was every assortment of whatever you could think of.
Anything else? What about that fingerprinting story?
I had a guy I was busy fingerprinting, and before I just got done. I was reaching up to get the hand cleaner for him, and he was arrested for DUI, drunk, he's tired, which a lot of drunks get, so before I could get his hand cleaner, he just took his hands and just went right down his face.
He covered his face with ink?
Yeah, he did. He looked like an Indian ready to go to war.
What about the drunk guy that was trying to get away from you in the hallway and he head-butted the door or something,
oh, yeah,
you said?
He pulled himself away, and he thought he was going to get away and ran head first right into the door.
Knocked himself out?
And knocked him out.
That's one way to do it, huh? Let's see what other questions the viewers asked. If a young guy, say 17, 18 years old, wants to get in law enforcement, what advice would you give him?
Well, most larger law enforcement agencies in the country, especially in your more metro areas, they're going to want at least a 2-year degree. So if you don't have a 2-year degree, go to college, get a 2-year degree. A lot of them,
criminal justice.
A lot of them also want you to have a 4-year degree. So once you get hired by one with a 2-year, you sign a contract stating that you're going to go get the other 2. The advantage is they're going to pay for the other 2, so it doesn't come out of pocket. The other way is if you don't want to go to college, go in the military. Military gets preference because police agencies are called paramilitary. So in the military, most agencies like people who come out of the military. They've got discipline, they've got some training. All you got to do is learn the law enforcement side of it, and you're a lot more likely to be accepted and get sponsored to get to the academy.
This thought just came to mind. Is there a quota to how many tickets you have to write a month?
Absolutely not. No agency that I've ever been associated with or known has a quota. But if you get stopped by a motorman's sole purpose, what he's hired to do, what he comes in and works day in and day out, is to write tickets. He doesn't answer calls unless a heavy one comes down or a unit needs to back up under an unusual circumstance. His job is to write tickets. So let's just say there's 5 motormen in this police agency.
And what's the definition of a motorman?
A motorman is the guy who wears the white shirt on a motorcycle.
Okay, there you go.
If he's on a motorcycle, that's a motorman. There's 5 of them for this particular agency. Okay, every officer is evaluated every year. So if this officer, we'll say Officer A, he writes 2 tickets a day. The other 4 officers in the unit are writing 10 tickets a day. At the end of the year, when you look at that officer's evaluation, well, what is he doing the rest of the time? Goofing off? So to keep with the unit as a whole, they all write about the same.
What about in your patrol car? There's no quotas to write tickets?
There's no. You have calls to answer. You have things you're responsible for. You have a particular zone you're assigned to. So you've got responsibilities, business checks, or whatever. The number one place where an officer gets killed or injured is in a traffic stop. Things can go wrong in a hurry. So if an officer stops you and does a traffic stop on you, more than likely you did what he said you did, because he's putting his life at risk pulling you over. So he's giving you a ticket because He thinks you did something wrong. In his opinion, you did something wrong. Sometimes the people don't have the same opinion. That's what the court system's for.
Hey, one last question. If you're just you're in uniform, you're walking around, you're standing on the corner, and a plainclothes civilian walks up to you, how does that affect you?
You know what? If someone wants to come up to me and thank me for anything I might have done, or just putting that badge on every day,
Or just come shake your hand?
or just
There's a call right there. Okay, let's
Yeah.
move forward. They just want to come shake your hand?
if they just want to come shake my hand or whatever, I'm all for it. But please approach the officer from the front. Make your way around him. Don't come up behind him and tap him on the back, because he's got a weapon. He has to protect. He's got to protect himself as well as others. So just confront them from the front and you'll be fine. You'll get a much better attitude from him than
Something
if you
as
come up
simple
behind
as
him and
you want to
start.
ask some directions or something simple,
Right.
or just say hello or
Somehow
anything.
make your way, let him know your presence is there. Don't just walk up behind him and tap him on the shoulder if he was busy doing something. And please, if you see an officer's busy on the scene of something and you don't know where you're going or you're lost, ask somebody else. Don't put yourself or that officer at risk by walking up to him. If he looks like he's busy handling some type of call, if he's standing outside of his car and his car is in the roadway and the lights are going, that is not the time to ask him a question.
Good.
There's plenty of other people you can ask directions for. At that moment, he's busy. He needs to concentrate on what he's doing, not where you need to go.
Thank you. All right, that concludes our interview today, Dave. I'm going to take a look at this sign here behind you, and we're going to check out. We are at a city called Tamarack, Florida, Veterans Memorial Park, dedicated to those who have served our country. And thank you to everybody who is serving our country today. Checking out. Bye.